going live.
I think it's already live.
We'll be live in a few. Yeah. So, hi guys. Hi everybody. Jane Jambi here from thedailylearners.com, where I am the lead instructor and I help people with web design, graphic design, and digital marketing, which is the major thing that I help my clients with. And today I'm with somebody special, all the way from Minnesota, United States of America. He is the lead consultant at Smarter Life Consulting. His name is Onesmus, and I'll let him introduce himself. Karibu
Thank you, Jen.
sana, Onesmus.
Thank you, Jen. And hi, everyone who is online with us today. My name is Onesmus Mutio. For purposes of today's streaming, I'm standing here as a founder and CEO of Smarter Life Consulting, but also wear many hats, having a background in financial management. So some of the things that we'll be discussing today are pertinent to what I do in my business. But today we are just going to focus on one thing, building clients' businesses. Thank you.
Yeah. So you reached out to me last year after you saw something on LinkedIn. That was my CV. Somebody shared it. We were not actually connected to one another. It was in October, if I'm not wrong. And you were like, can you help me with graphic design? And why did you choose just graphic designs and not anything else? You were like, can you do me, help me with a banner? I don't do graphic designs, but I did it for you. And because the way we were relating, it was so nice, and I was like, I need to work with this guy. But why did you just choose to start with one thing, graphic design?
One of the things that you will notice if you're running a business, you can't be excited about everything. You have to have a starting point. And for me, graphic design was a good starting point. And if you realize, we've continued to do more and more business, even getting into web design and the likes. But I feel graphic design was at the core because I recall when I was young and back in Kenya starting my career, my CEO then told me, even in an army camp, doctors know how to shoot a gun. So the fact that I'm a lead consultant in a consulting firm uh, doesn't cause me to want to not know things. There are times when things happen in life and your graphic designer is not there. So I had to get some basic knowledge in graphic design. And that is what now started my journey in graphic design.
Nice. You are in a country, the US, and my CV was very colorful. Okay, it was a colorful resume, and it faced so much objection from HR. In fact, when I reached out to a HR specialist, she told me that your resume will never take you anywhere. And I told them it's not for looking for a job; it's for posting on my social media so that it can attract more. Why didn't you judge my resume based on the colors it had, but you just came for a specific service that you wanted, and you didn't even try to be like, I'm in the US, we don't like it when CVs have photos and all that. Why? Because I have been telling people, if you want to be on the internet, if you want to run a business on the internet, even your CV should really be appealing. It should be for that. I don't know if you're getting me. It should be for that. It's for internet. It needs to grab people's attention so they can show interest. What's
Mhm.
your perspective on that?
For one, I think if we allow ourselves to be stuck with what used to work yesterday, we will find ourselves stuck. And while the HR person has a valid point based on what was being used to judge how a good CV looks like or a good resume looks like, the market is shifting. And personally, when I looked at it, I felt it was a good piece of work that you had done. And if you're okay, you can share the statistics of how many people are also wowed by that resume. So one person's opinion should not make you feel like you have to fit in a particular criteria or particular way of doing things. If your way is differentiating yourself by being colorful, then go for it.
Now, is that the same mindset you go with when you're dealing with your customers? You are like, I'm not going to let any limiting belief or existing whatever control what I want to achieve in my customer's business.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same mentality I face everything in life. And looking back where I started, starting my life in the village, coming to the city, succeeding in the city, coming to the US, starting at the bare minimum entry level point, and now growing into different levels. I would say differentiating yourself by doing what you believe. And I'm a believer, and I do believe if you have been guided by just the Holy Spirit and God speaking to you, you should not allow other people to decide the path that you're going to take. If that is a place where you feel this is where God is taking me, go for it.
Okay. So now, what made you realize that you wanted to help immigrant businesses? Okay. You are in the US, you moved to the US back in 2014, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
you just said, I want to deal with businesses for Kenyans who are in the US, who have immigrated to the US. Why immigrants? Why only Kenyans? Why not everybody?
in business, you have to define your niche, and it doesn't mean that you'll get stuck with that population, with that target population indefinitely. For me, starting with the Kenyan community around here was a starting point for me. Yes, other people from other communities within the African or African American population have reached out. But for me, starting with Kenyan community was driven by several factors. One of them being, I have been to uh, businesses owned by Kenyans, and there's such Africanness, which we are not going to distance ourselves from, but we should not allow complacency and just doing things in a particular way define our space in the business. Because remember, you're not competing against fellow Kenyans, you're competing against the world. And
Yeah,
if you're going to do things in a mediocre way, whether you are Kenyan or African, you are competing with people who are serious about their businesses. Now, let me give you an instance. We had a Kenyan Business Expo, and there are certain things that I noted right from the word go. And to me, those were opportunities. They were eye-opening moments. I was representing our church. We were doing a campaign for COVID vaccination, and I wouldn't dwell into the details
yeah,
of that. But I showed up, and our stand was so well branded that people would come and just say, and they're like, "And you're a church." I'm like, "Yeah, we are a church, correct, but we have also to be branded in a way that represents us." And from that, I realized there's a gap. Then now I connected with a few people there, one of them being one of our clients, Ian. We met in that business expo. And
yes,
to me, connecting with the school that we are going to talk about today mostly was through my wife. My wife went to the same
yeah,
school. She gave very good report about the content they deliver. However, when I visited the school, there was nothing to show me the school in this building. Only a small sign at the door saying the name of the school, which we are going to disclose at a particular point here. But there was totally nothing in the hallways, totally nothing outside the building. When you go online, you realize that there was not even a mention on Google Maps about the school. So I was like, here is an opportunity for us to start somewhere. And that was just a starting point. Eventually, as I continue to grow my business, I will be branching out, but again, with a very specific strategy and a targeted niche. I won't just wake up and rise and go to the world, but I have to grow at a pace which I feel I'll be able to support my clients as successfully.
Nice. So you only took one business. That's a nursing school, and you
Correct.
focused on it.
Yes.
Why?
It may be a very controversial approach where people say, can't you just diversify and go out to many? I was careful to go with a client that I knew if I deliver results, I can be able to use that client as a reference. My business would be launching officially around November this year, which is about a year after we met and a year after we started working with
Yes.
this client. And I didn't want to take so many clients, understanding that I'm also a full-time employee working with one of the medical devices here. I really wanted to focus my attention to this client. Because remember, just like branding, if you can be able to give one authentic client as a reference and people go there and see your work, I think business will come. You won't be chasing business. Similarly, the same way that you focused on just doing one piece of work, your resume, and business came to you, I know you're going to share about how many people viewed that LinkedIn post, how many people approached you to do business with them because of one post. You didn't need to do 15 posts or 20 or 30 to try to have one of them catch their attention. You focused on one, and that is what did it for you. So it's a similar thing for me.
Okay, nice. So you started with a logo.
Correct.
Okay. So with this business, you started with a logo.
Mm-hmm.
Why the logo? You know, when you go online, most of these experts tell you the logo is not very important. Your business, I tell people, businesses are different, okay? You see, you have this school, it's a physical school. You also know that I have a client who runs a school, but it's an online one. So that one might not need a logo as much as this one. You went for the first thing, the logo. Why did you focus designing on the logo first and not anything else? And it's a
Um,
beautiful logo.
for me, for me, a logo is an identity. It's not just a piece of art that is placed on someone's website or building. To me, a logo speaks about something. And if you look at that logo, it doesn't have like cars or other fancy things in there. It's a very specific logo with just the name and an image of what happens in the institution that bears that name. Now, a logo also helps you kind of bring some authenticity, especially if you're running a business which is located in a physical place. And a logo is also a piece of art. To me, that logo says so much than writing 5 paragraphs of blog post about the school. So that is my perspective of graphic design. And that is where it all begins.
Wow, that's incredible. So you also went ahead and did a banner. And I remember when we started speaking, you were like, the school, my wife went to the school. She says they have very nice content, but when you go there, you can't tell if there is a school. So this was your second project. I remember when we met, we were talking, and you told me, let me show you something I have done. This is what you have done.
Mhm.
You see, a poster here, and even on Facebook, it looked so beautiful on their Facebook page.
Mhm.
Why did you focus on banner and not just now go and work with the logo alone? And why?
Uh, for one, if you focus on the logo, the logo will not get you there in terms of branding. You can't just be posting a logo on Facebook, or you can't just have a logo standing in front of the building. There has to be some piece of creativity that goes into it. Yes, we know you are not Metro Health Institute. So what? If you look at that banner, it has very basic information of where they are located, what they stand for, and the logo, of course, embedded in that. And for that particular one, I had to outsource because I am not at that point in terms of using complicated design software. And I know we're going to talk about graphic design using software that has been created to support emerging or amateur designers like me. But at that moment, I sourced for someone who I had, I could be able to verify their credibility in terms of design. And they were able to bring out some beautiful piece of art.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I was able to present it to my client, and she was impressed. In fact, 2 days after we put that banner out there, she got people walking through her doors, and she's like, I got this person who came and said, wow, I saw your banner and I decided to come in.
Yes.
So imagine we had just designed the logo and just decided, oh, now we have a beautiful logo, we are going to stick there. Then I think we wouldn't have started appealing to clients, especially foot traffic, people who are walking in the corridors of the building, because it happens in the same building. There was, or there is, another nursing school. So by having this banner outside the door, people who would have otherwise gone to a different entity were able to realize, hey, oh, there is a
Yes.
school here. And they get in and they find all this organized office and well-structured classroom, which was not visible from the word go. So by having the
Yeah.
banner there, it was able to attract people to go inside and see for themselves what was inside. I don't know if I've lost you.
Yeah.
I can, yeah.
And I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen, but I
So,
couldn't hear you
yes.
for a moment.
Pardon?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a moment.
Hello? Oh, what I'm saying is, from the photos we have on Facebook, even people can now see students are taking photos during graduation in front of a real school. Because initially there was not something like that. There was nothing showing the school. Do you think it had an impact
That
on
is
the internet
correct.
space, or was it just the physical space, the physical?
Yeah, that is correct. And the reason as to why there wasn't any indication of any kind of material going online during graduations is because students were not at that point of finding a place where they could have material that identifies the school. In the classroom, if we would have gone before we started the branding exercise, there were just walls which were like white walls, and uh, there was so much opportunity that by starting with the logo, getting into the banner, now eventually in one of the posts that you are showing on Facebook, there's a backdrop banner. Now that particular backdrop banner, I designed it myself, because now I was at that point
Yes.
where I think knowledge I got from Jen in the few hours of training have gotten me to that point that I can be able to present something to the client. Because first and foremost, before I just get myself to do something, I I have to think about the client. Am I delivering quality? And that is why I outsourced the first two pieces. But now at this point, I started designing for the client. And I've also done some work in terms of um, uh, digital posts that we've been using for social media. I've also done some work in terms of designing a letterhead for the client. I've also done some work in terms of designing business cards for the client. So once I outsourced the first two pieces, I said, let me get this thing. I think now I have inadequate knowledge to be able to deliver results to my client.
Mm-hmm. So this is the backdrop banner, the one which is here, right? The the cameraman taking. We have that backdrop banner, the one that you designed, right? And
It's
that I
still
taught
loading
you
on
for
my
six
side.
hours.
Uh,
Hello?
oh, I don't know what happened to Jane. We'll just give her a minute to join back. It could be a connection issue. All right, as we wait for Jane to come back, we are talking about the power of graphic design, an area that may look small to start, but definitely it speaks volumes when you see the results, because marketing has to have a strategy. And for me, the graphic design entry point was the place to start. And connecting with Jen was one of the greatest things that I can be able to associate with my career in consulting, and as well as in my short stint so far in graphic design. So I do believe that Jane is joining again. Could have been some connection challenges, but I know we will continue this streaming in a few minutes. So just hang on there. Don't disconnect, and we'll continue digging into this space of graphic design. So yes, Jane is back. Hi, Jane. I can't hear you clearly. I don't know what's happening with the audio. Jane, you're on mute. All right. I think Jen is still trying to connect again. We are talking about graphic design, specifically in promoting a business, promoting branding, and why graphic design? Why not just do blog posts, for instance? Why not just print write-ups? I do believe that there's a space, and as you have heard, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So with a mix of art and creativity in graphic design, you're able to achieve so much more. You're able to achieve to be able to present yourself in a very credible way to your clients. You're able to present yourself in a way that client will find your messaging very unique and your messaging very appealing and attractive. So that's the power of graphic design, courtesy of the lessons that I got from Jane. So Jane is back. Karibu sana Jane. I still cannot hear you for some reason. All right. I think we'll just give Jane a few more minutes, but we'll continue to explore this subject of graphic design. Now, one question that I've had from people, is there value to promote um, offline marketing compared to focusing all your efforts on online marketing? Personally, this is my opinion. You have to meet the client where the client is. If you find the client has a physical location, you have to brand that physical location even as you make plans to go online. Ultimately, online gives you that wide coverage compared to offline or on-site where you have to rely on foot traffic coming in. But that does not mean that you have to jump on online marketing and neglect the offline marketing or the marketing or the branding on site. So for me, my position on that is start where the client is. If the client is specifically targeting online audience, then you start online, then you look at other strategies to expand. If the client is doing a business in a physical premise, brand that, then now start growing your client to start attracting online audience. Because talking of the CNS school that we have been working with, North Metro Health Institute, we started by branding within the building. Then eventually we grew to start branding on social media. And as a result of that, we were able to see people who are initially out of the scope of the business because they don't walk into the building now start noticing all of a sudden, oh, hey, there's a school that exists in Minnesota. And talking to the proprietor of the school, some people have driven 2 hours to come to that school. Others have driven 1 hour, 30 minutes. So by starting where the client is, you're able to capture that immediate geographically located audience. But once you start expanding and going out online, then you're able to expand that reach and you're able to attract more people. Then you'll continue building your network of clients through word of mouth beyond that. Jen is back. Hi, Jen.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Nice, thank you so much. So, sorry for that, guys. So, thank you so much, Onesmus, for your patience. Okay, so now we are done with the physical part, the logo, the backdrop, the the banner. And now we go to things like business card and letterhead. Why did you choose to do such things? Like a letterhead. What's up with letterhead? Is it even necessary?
Yes, actually, the letterhead, when you're sending official communication to institutions, let's say you're applying for certain things from the government or you're sending official communication to other entities, I do believe having a letterhead speaks better than just typing on a Word document with no identity. And this letterhead doesn't end here. We are thinking of now using the same letterhead design to produce notebooks that, let's say, somebody who is a prospective client comes to that business as a write any notes on, as a scribble in any notes or any information on a piece of paper. When you give that potential client that piece of paper, they are able to carry your identity with them. And if they ever need to reference, to get in contacts for the school, they'll already have it in their hands. Versus if you just reached out and pulled out a plain paper off a printer and just scribbled your notes. So it speaks to some degree to the credibility of the institution that they're coming to. Jen, you've gone on mute for some reason. All right, I think as Jen fixes the technical situation, we will continue with just that discussion that we started around business cards and I designing a letterhead. Now, if you look at where we are in the business world, even the smallest of businesses, I would recommend that we have a form of documentation that you can be able to share on short notice. For instance, if someone comes to visit my business and beyond us exchanging phone numbers, I'm able to give them something. Remember, they can be able to pass that business card to someone. Now, if someone visits my premises and I give them a notebook and they use that notebook in, let's say, a workshop or something else, somebody else may be curious to see, hey, where did you get this one from? Now, the kind of business card that I designed for this client, at the front is a contact information. At the back is a QR code that if you just uh, shine your camera on it, be it on iPhone, on Android phone, it picks that QR code and it pulls up the address for the school. So we are now kind of bringing the physical hard copy prints to be able to connect, to enable clients to be able to connect with our online profile. I'm talking about the business card again. Remember, business cards in the past had wasted space at the back, but now using that back part of the business card and of course educating clients that there's a QR code they can be able to scan with their camera just gives them the opportunity to be able to continue learning more about your institution by just scanning that QR code. So there's an element of creativity that has been added in every piece that we do. It's all calculated. Yeah, thank you. Jen is back. Jen, karibu tena.
Thank you so much, Anesmas, for holding me up for for all this. Thank you. So now uh you just didn't stop from letterhead business card. You went all the way to even web design. You're not going to show your website because if I do that, I'm going to be it since I have internet issues, I'm going to have so much trouble. But why did you even choose to give your website a facelift? You gave them a facelift of everything, and you just focused on one business and design only. Nothing else. You didn't even focus on marketing. Only the aspect of design.
Yeah, my approach to business is first understand the client and understand where the client is. For this particular client, we had to start with identity, and that's why we started with the logo. Then we started now building
Can you
tools
hear
to be
me?
able to. Yes, I can hear you. So once we defined the identity for the client, the next thing we started building on is our tools to enable the client to be able to communicate with prospective customers. Now, we did the banner, as you explained. We added the backdrop. We did the business card. We did the letterhead. And at that point, we felt, in terms of tools, we think we are somewhere. Now, let us focus on consistency across the online channel. So we started by designing the website, which thank you very much because of your help and guidance in designing that website and getting it up and running. I learned a lot as you worked on that piece. So we start with identity, we go to the tools, and now we go into the media. What medium am I using to communicate to my client? If you go to a website, you're able to learn so much out of the business about the business than you would have gained by visiting and having the proprietor explain to you what they do. Now, beyond the website, we now started now marketing those tools that we had put in place, those that identity that we had defined in the social media. So it's a consistent path that we've defined. And as at now, we've not even reached that place where we can now be able to aggressively go for marketing. We had to build that foundation. Just to give you some analogy,
Yeah, nice. That's
consistency
awesome. I
consistency
remember their website.
yes, consistency is quite important. You can't come and present a particular image on site and you don't present the same image online. And that is why I was very particular about how the website should look, even the mix of colors, the use of graphics in the website. And I needed to model that identity so that the identity on site equals the identity online. And you'll notice that there's a particular consistency even on social media with regard to colors, with regard to design, general design, and also any kind of marketing that we do. The messaging is very consistent. Um, I think I can't hear you again for some reason.
Okay. So, why did you learn to why did you choose to learn graphic design instead of outsource? You have
Uh, mhm.
the money. I can hear you myself. Can you hear me?
It's not consistent for some reason.
Hello?
So I can't hear you, but at least I think I've understood what you were asking about. You are
Hello?
about yes. Can you hear me?
I'm saying, why did you learn to why did you choose to learn graphic designs instead of outsourcing? You ask me, hey, can you teach me graphic designs?
I started by mentioning a statement from my very first employer
Yes, I
that
can hear you.
even doctors in the army camp know how to shoot a gun. And there's a place for outsourcing. And for me, delivering quality for my
I can
client is
hear you loud and clear.
yes. Yeah, delivering quality for my client is a first thing. So if I find myself not being able to deliver that quality, then I would definitely outsource. And you saw that by the logo, you saw that by the very initial banner
Hello?
that I did. But yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I don't know whether you're still having the technical challenges. Yeah, but what I was saying is understanding how to do graphic design to me was a value add, and it's still a value add because I've not just used the skill of creating graphic design for that particular institution alone. I've also used it for other clients that I do either pro bono work, which is voluntary work, or even for my own personal branding. To me, knowledge is power. And as I said, things happen. Somebody who you've been relying to deliver something may get sick or something just could happen. What happens in that case? You should be equipped to the point that you can be able to quickly step in and be able to deliver the same consistent quality that your web designer is doing. Yes, as you mentioned, we have resources to be able to pay people, and we don't hesitate to do that. However, having that skill in itself is important. I didn't want to lose any time because if I had that opportunity to learn and I lose it, I don't know if I would have found someone who is as good with explaining the essence of graphic design in the sphere of marketing like you do. So there are opportunities that come to you and you don't want just to let them pass. So to me, this was a good opportunity for me to learn. And whatever I've learned, I've been able to turn it into a revenue stream for myself. While, as I said, I'm still looking out for opportunities to outsource whenever I can. I think I can't hear you. I don't know whether it's a connection issue or something. I think we may be having a technical situation.
Amazing. So that's incredible. So and eventually last month, can you hear me?
Uh, it's dragging a little bit, so it's taking a few
Hello?
seconds to come across.
Okay, you can still hear me even now. My face.
Now I can hear you. Yes, let's explore what we did after we created the identity and we built the tools to communicate. Last month, in the month of May, we started advertising the intake for June. And remember, this is a school whose intake was sometimes 7 students, sometimes 8 students, sometimes 10. But once we started now building this identity and utilizing the tools to communicate, we were able to start ranging between 10 to 12 clients. So in the month of May, we started now advertising June class. And what we saw was amazing because we now grew from 8 students or 10 students in those months where we put some activity in the past to 18 students in the month of June. So you see, that is about 100% increase. Because suppose without marketing, we're ranging about 8 to 10 students, so average 9. And this particular month of June, we had a record enrollment of 18 students. That shows that whatever we already put in place is doing work. And now there's still that space to do marketing, active marketing, promoting the school with a low budget. We were able to turn that to an incremental enrollment of 100%. So now we are optimistic that as we come into July, we'll be able to maintain that momentum of enrolling more than 15 students, just to give a blanket figure. And that's our goal, 15 students or more for every month.
So I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, loud and clear.
Oh, thank you so much, and sorry for that, guys. So so now I believe that with graphic design, you have seen that even income can increase for a business, right?
Correct. I just mentioned that we saw 100% growth. And I gave an example of initially we were doing 8 to 10 students. Then after we started doing small time social media presence, we saw our enrollment grow between 10 to 12. But in the month of June, which we started marketing in May, we were able to see enrollment of up to 18 students. And we are optimistic that starting July, we'll be able to maintain that momentum of 15 students or more.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Initially, how were they getting clients without anything for their business? And after you came in, the 18 students, did you just get them through internet only, or did they use the traditional way, or it was just dependent on the internet?
It's a mix of both. Initially, how the school used to get students was through word of mouth. As I mentioned earlier, this institution does a really good job in preparing their students to take the certified nursing assistant and home health aide licensing exams. And by so doing, every month, the proprietor of the school would send out messages to their network, uh, um, encouraging them to share with their friends. Now, with us now starting to do some graphic design for them, the messaging became more appealing, and we also talked them through expanding beyond that network. Now, with their online presence, we were able to attract clients who are not traditionally within the circle of relationships that the teacher or the head of the institution was had. Now, with the intakes from April, May, and June, we are seeing significant diversity in terms of the target population. We've started seeing more people from outside Kenya. In fact, in the month of April, the enrollment for April, we only had like 30% of the class being Kenyans. The rest of them were people from East Africa, Central Africa, and the US. US meaning people who had no connection with being born in Kenya. So you see, with bringing in graphic design and marketing, we just enlarged the network from a small Kenyan immigrant community to the wider African immigrant community, even to locals, people who are born here, who came to know about the school, not through networks that the institution had, but through just having the online presence. So it will continue to be a mix of both because we do not want to disregard the traditional way of sourcing for clients that the school had. And with more students graduating and having a good word about the school, we still want to leverage on that because that is a communication strategy that has proven to work. Now, our presence online, our presence in terms of social media marketing, which we're getting into, is just going to enhance that. So that if through the traditional ways we are able to get 8 students and we add another 10 by marketing to the wider audience, then we will be able to stay consistently above 15 students. So our goal was initially 12, now we went up to 15. Now that we hit 18, we want to maintain 15 as a goal for a while and possibly now start targeting ways to get 20 students a month.
That's incredible. So I find so many clients stubborn when it comes to graphic design. You tell them, you have to work on your graphic, you have to work on your 3D images, you have to have this consistency in that. And they're like, I'm not ready to invest in that. I just want to make money fast, then invest in that. And you're like, it's not going to work. Your images are not appealing. They are horrible. What do you tell these type of people?
Uh, you can't expect to make money if you're not spending money. And graphic design, especially with me connecting with Jen and saying, I don't want you to design something for me, I want you to teach me how to do it. There are tools that can help you do graphic design without having you spend a lot of money. Of course, if you want quality, you will have to pay someone in the initial stages. But as you pay that person, be there and try to learn because they'll be able to teach you aspects of graphic design that to me were not things that I knew. For instance, the choice of colors. Certain colors are more conversion, geared towards conversion, and they give you better results than other colors. A color may look good, but if you have no exposure in terms of graphic design, you may mix up your colors and start wondering why is my graphic design not working for me. But what I would advise is if you are planning to make money out of your business, graphic design cannot be left in the out of the equation because you may spend, let's say, for instance, $50 on graphic design. That's equivalent of 5,000 Kenya shillings. Sometimes I know some people have gone even low as $20, which is about 2,000 Kenya shillings. But if it's going to bring you 2 clients and each client is giving you $500 or $1,000, then you just got your math wrong by saying, I want to make money fast. Then I can go pay someone to do graphic design because you're losing opportunities of getting clients now. You want to start getting clients tomorrow. So to me, I would say I would personally encourage get someone like Jen who can be able to walk you through, even if she's not going to teach you how to do graphic design, because I know her focus is online or digital marketing. At least get to know her perspective in terms of graphic design. And I would highly encourage, please invest in getting someone within your budget to do graphic design for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Onesmus. We have a question. We can answer
Mhm.
it. It's from Eric Nyaga. He's saying, can Onesmus help in business? Example, source products from Alibaba, rebrand them at USA and dispatch to US clients. Can Onesmus do that?
Uh, that is an area that I'll refer you to Jane. Jane is actually the right person to teach you that. So if you've not watched Jane's previous videos of drop shipping and all these Alibaba transactions, please talk to Jen. I do believe that those videos are still available and Jen can be able to direct you to know how to do that. I do not want to get into a space that I'm going to give you limited information. The right person will be Jen for that.
Thank you for the recommendation. Actually, I have a client from the UK. We are working on her business. She just did her first sale right now and she has texted me and she followed my Alibaba tutorial. Now she's selling her products in the UK. everything I taught on my tutorials on YouTube. She followed, she imported everything, and when everything is in her garage, in her house, she's like, can we do marketing? So now we just did our first sale right now. She has texted me. So if you want, Eric, to learn Alibaba and everything, just watch my video on YouTube. It will explain everything to you. And if you want to learn one-on-one class, you can schedule for them on our website, thedailylearners.com, and get to learn so many things from me. And if you want, if you are in the US and you have a business, if you are Kenyan living in the US, you have a business and you would like for Onesimus to come and take a look at it, he will come to where you are. I have seen him go to a brokerage firm, to a print on demand business, to you go to many businesses on Onesimus, and you tell me, I went to this business and it's like this and this. I want to do this and this and that for this business. Onesimus is the person to go to. So my friends from the US who have businesses up there, talk to this guy, talk to Onesimus. So Onesimus, how can they reach you? On your Facebook?
They can reach me on my Facebook, and once you reach me on my Facebook, I can be able to give you my contact information, including my phone number and email, that you can be able to,
Or
we can continue to
yeah,
connect.
they can also reach out on your website, Smarter Life Consulting.
Yes, you can do so, but I'm going to do the official launch, so I'm not communicating that as an official way of reaching me at the moment. I would recommend hit me on my social media. Then after that, I'll give you my email and my phone number, and we can be able to schedule that I show up and come and see for myself. Then we can be able to devise a working strategy. As you will notice, Jane, not all strategies will work for all clients. It is important that you first understand where the client is. Let me give you an example. You spoke about the insurance brokerage firm, and you know about the school that we were talking about. Both entrepreneurs are at a different level or at a different place in terms of their marketing. I won't go and duplicate the marketing I did with the tools that I started building for the nursing school with the insurance brokerage firm, because, and I'm not trying to compare things here, they are at a different place marketing-wise, and if I'm going to devise a strategy that works for them, I have to go see where they are so that we can start from there. It's like you have a full curriculum that takes a student from kindergarten through university, and you want to force even those ones who are already in 8th grade to come back to kindergarten to start learning. And that's why I'm saying the strategy would be different depending on where the client is in their marketing journey.
Okay, amazing. So thank you guys for attending. Thank you so much, Onesimus, for creating time and for your patience. And do you want to add anything, or can we just end the meeting?
Yeah, what I would say is don't be afraid to invest small amounts of money within your budget, of course, to be able to build your capacity. Because by so doing, if you choose not to invest that money, you will find at some point that you've been left behind just because you didn't have the knowledge. So what I would say is gaining this knowledge is power. If you can be able to connect with Jane, Jane is now teaching or doing a few lessons with regard to digital marketing. And if you didn't watch a couple of weeks ago, she had a lecturer from the University of Nairobi who she was able to help in the online marketing guidance. And so far, that lecturer was able to give a very good positive testimony of how the world has just turned, has changed. So if you can be able to connect with Jen, I think she has a lot of knowledge that I told her needs to get from her to people. And I do believe that you'll find something helpful by just connecting with her. She will take you through understanding consulting fees, because I do believe that she needs to be compensated for the time she has put to build herself, to build the knowledge base, So I would say I would encourage a lot that if it's within your budget, please spare that amount and be able to gain that knowledge. You may just find something that works for you. For me, it was an entry level of graphic design and web design. Although I'm still outsourcing some web design work, I'm not yet there, but I do believe by continuing to connect with Jen, I've continued to gain knowledge that I'm going to use tomorrow. That's all I can say.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much, Onesmus, and bye, guys.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for connecting today.
We have done it. Can you imagine?
I think
Onesmus, can you hear me?
we are still live. But you've done an amazing job. Just going out there and releasing this knowledge to